So I am having a Zoom call with Samantha Foster, who started Lifehouse Project. Lifehouse, is that Lifehouse Project or Lifehouse?
Yes, Lifehouse Project.
It's a nonprofit.
Lifehouse Project.
Yes, and it's a nonprofit, and then I'm having a Zoom meeting with her, so I wanted to share what she does and what her organization does. Hi, Samantha, how are you doing?
I'm doing good, thank you.
Good. So please tell us about your nonprofit.
So the Lifehouse Project was founded upon my very experiences in my life, and we're here to provide shelter, refuge, programs, and services to women and children who are being rescued from domestic violence and human trafficking, as well as bringing forth a huge movement in not so much of awareness, because I think we all have awareness of what's going on, but action steps. And getting people to do what they're uncomfortable doing, and that means taking that step forward to actually stop and intervene when the domestic violence, child abuse, or human trafficking is happening. We just need to know what we can do and be educated in that area.
So how can people find out about your organization? Do you have a website or social media?
Yes, so we are on all the social medias, but the best way to get hold of us is through our website at www.lifehouseproject.org.
Okay, great. So what kind of program do you have through Lifehouse Project?
So through my own healing experience and the fact that I didn't have any tools and resources, I had to come up with them on my own. So I did a lot of research, and this is really what I used in my own life to bring about a holistic healing. And this is something I know that my mother needed, and my children. It's called the 4-Pillar Program. This is my signature program that I have brought into the Lifehouse Project. And it works through your medical and health. It works through the mental health. It works through the spiritual health, as well as career, education, and financial health. So with all 4 of these components need to be functioning on a positive level for people to really step out of their past life of domestic violence and human trafficking. When we're suffering in any of those areas, we find ourselves back into the same situation again. And it's not an overnight process. Our programs are 1 to 3 years, because we're trying to change the very nature that we have been trained since a child. We're having to reconstruct how we think and how we feel about things, and really unlearn and learn new things. This is a process. It takes a while.
So Lifehouse Project was founded by you?
Yes. I am the founder, and it was my mother's lost her life to domestic violence in 2013. And shortly after that, as I was trying to leave my own domestic violence situation, I almost lost my life. And luckily he's in prison and he's not getting out. But it was through, really the whole life ending up to this type of trauma and disaster that really triggered, like, wait a minute, I'm not the only one who goes through this. I'm seeing my whole family suffer because of domestic violence. How do we heal? How do we come out of it? And really the pivotal moment of the birth of the Lifehouse Project was when the defense attorney looked at me, the state attorney looked at me, because they took on my case to press charges, of course, against my perpetrator. They asked me, how did you do it? How did you get up on the stand and testify in your own cases? Because we can't get women to do this. They either dodge the court case, they lying on the witness stand. How did you do it? And I told them, when I have the answer, that I'm going to come back and I will give them the answer and I will help them. And this was in Oregon. So the Lifehouse Project is that. This is me coming back in a large way to help people, to help professionals who are trying to help victims, but as well as help the victims and survivors.
So you are the victim of DV, and then your mom as well.
My siblings were victimized. My children were victimized. I mean, this is how, when they say that you're, oh, it's in the blood or it's genetic, right? We are, our childhood is what shapes our adulthood. So whatever environment that we are in or we're born into when we are children is what's going to shape our adulthood. It's how we're going to live, and we're going to pass that down to our kids, and we don't even realize it.
And then I know that Lifehouse Project is helping the human trafficking victims, and then sex trafficking too, or just human trafficking?
Human and sex trafficking. Human trafficking really is a broad term. It's whoever's being trafficked, because it's all violence,
sure,
right? It's all hurtful and very damaging to another person. So we don't just segment into we're only going to help these people or we're only going to help these people. No, this is about violence against humanity, if you will, which is from child abuse to domestic violence to all forms of human trafficking.
Now, you kind of mentioned about international, like a project, can you tell about it a little bit?
Yeah. So I know that I started the nonprofit here in America, but it's an international nonprofit. And, why is it international? Because domestic violence and human trafficking is all over our world in every culture and every society. And I say, let's take down the borders, right? We're all human. We're all having this experience. Let's join forces, because when do we say enough is enough, right? Enough hurting our children, enough hurting other people, enough hurting our women. So I want to stand with every woman. I want to stand with every child, no matter what culture, no matter what society you're in. I want to stand with you and say enough is enough.
So what kind of area in your nonprofit at this stage do you think you need most help with?
So, thank you for asking that question. We need donations at this stage, and we also need some administrative work, because so much work for a nonprofit is our marketing, our content, and our messaging. So in any area of that, we definitely need help with, but donations. We can't function without money. And something about the Lifehouse Project is that we don't take in government funding. And you're going to ask me why, and I'm going to tell you why. Because we can't be restricted in what we do. When a nonprofit takes in government funding, then they have to abide by the rules and regulations of the government for that funding. So therefore, your programs become more formed into a government funding, a government program. And we all know that doesn't work. That we need to be broader in our services so we can reach every individual and not be so narrowly focused. So we are by donations only that are non-governmental.
What kind of things do you use funding for?
Mm-hmm. So the funding, of course, is going to be for the infrastructure. Right now, every volunteer, including me, the founder, donate 100% of our time. I'm working the Lifehouse Project 7 days a week. So right now, the donations go to the funding. We have 18 women from human trafficking who are ready to come into our service and our programs, but we need that funding to be able to really launch that platform and hire in other professionals to fill in some of our slots that we need. One of the things that I have found that like doctors and or licensed psychiatrists are really not wanting to step in and donate their time a lot. At least I haven't ran into them yet, which means that I need to pay for those services. So it'll be going to the programs and the services and the infrastructure of the Lifehouse Project.
How do you identify these victims to be involved with your nonprofit?
I work with other nonprofits. We have collaborated with Tampa Bay Crossings. They're willing, and they work with women from human trafficking. They do the cognitive behavioral therapy. So they do the mental health issues in the Tampa area, Hillsborough County. So this is all about collaboration. So they've got women like, okay, but we only fulfill that first pillar or help with that mental health piece, but we need medical, right? We need spiritual health. We need the education and the, small business incubators and financial. So when we're collaborating with them, they're like, okay, you guys take care of the mental health and we'll take care of the other three pillars, right? So this is how we get the women coming in. We've also partnered with Movies Make a Difference with Diana. And that's amazing too. These women are all, again, from human trafficking. And she's like, we need services. She goes, I got them put out in different shelters and different homes, but we need the services. And we're like, okay, so we provide the services for them while they're living in other shelters. So this is really how the startup is happening. It's that collaboration, again, with the other nonprofits. So they can succeed and get the best services possible, as well as now, we can fill in our gaps in our nonprofit at this time because we're still a startup, and they can help really give us a good foundation to fill in our gaps that we're missing. So it's really about partnerships and collaborations. We can't do it alone. We've got to be with other nonprofits that work in the same area.
Got it. So again, the best way for people to donate or find out about your organization to go to your website?
Yes, www.lifehouseproject.org.
Okay, great. Well, thank you so much for being on a Zoom. I'm gonna just end the Facebook Live, and but I just wanted to highlight your organization and then the good thing that you're doing, and I really appreciate you willing to help these victims.
Thank you so much.